morning. Can I begin by asking a question? Do you expect others to show kindness and compassion to you? Yes. How about you showing compassion to yourself? Some time ago, a student once asked me, Father, how can I change the world when I am not able to change myself? I smiled, and I should say that particular question lingered in me like a pebble in the shoes. It haunted me, not because I did not have an answer, but that revealed to me something that we often overlook. We are taught that compassion is something that we show to others, the needy, the poor, the underprivileged. But how about compassion that we show to ourselves? How about having a personal space for our own pains and our own imperfections? I invite you to take a journey with me today. This is not an outward journey, this is an inward journey, a journey that will help us to understand that compassion, when rooted within, has the power to transform our lives. It has the power to transform our homes, our workplaces, our campuses, our society. Let me bring you a story that happened, an incident that happened in my life. When I was a 4th class student, I remember one of the lessons that we were taught on that day was the good neighbor. Good neighbor with reference to the parable of the Good Samaritan. That evening, when we were returning after the class, in those days we walked to the school, we walked after the school. Just before reaching my home, we saw this man lying on the roadside. He was weak, he was tired, he was disheveled. Of course, kids, when we see that kind of a person, we have different reactions. Some ridiculed him, called him a drunkard. Some others did not pay any attention. Some others had, of course, a compassionate look at him. But none of us acted. Now, I reached home, I had my evening snacks, and I sat down to do my homework. Then suddenly I hear my dad calling out, Mom. Curious, I came out, opened the door. I saw this man whom I had seen on the roadside that evening, standing with my dad. When Mom came out, my dad told her, give him some food and some clothing. And then I vividly remember my dad sitting with him, listening to him, finding out his whereabouts, and then gave him some money at the end and sent him away with dignity. And I should say, though silent, this was the most powerful sermon I ever heard in my life. And I learned this lesson that an empty cup cannot pour out. If we do not have light within us, we cannot share the light with others. And that day, my dad had become a good neighbor, and that was not an accident. It was something that he had cultivated in his life. This is something that had become part of his life. And I learned this very important lesson for my life. And I should say, on that day, a seed of compassion was planted in me. Many years later, something similar happened in the campus of St. Paul's College, Bangalore. I used to observe a group of students who used to sit on a quiet corner of this campus and used to share their lunch and share their laughter. A group of cheerful friends. One evening, while I was having a walk in the campus, I met one of them. And I told him how I feel about it. I said, it's very nice to see you all sitting together, sharing your food and your laughter. He put his head down. Then he said, Father, it is not we sharing meal. It is my friends sharing their meal with me. I come from a very poor background. My dad passed away a few years ago. My mom is really unwell. And I cannot afford to have more than one meal a day. And I did not want anyone to know about it. But my friends found that out, and they decided to bring extra lunch every day so that they can share that lunch with me, and I do not go home hungry. Sometimes they even given me some money to buy medicine for my mother. And they do not want anyone to know about it. I said, no. This is what I want everybody to know, not for any publicity, not for any social media posts, but for others to imitate. And I feel so happy because the youth of today, the millennials and the Gen Zs, they are so kind and compassionate that I'm so happy to feel and say that kindness has not completely vanished from the face of this earth. And I learned that very important lesson that day, that kindness does not often look for recognition. It grows in silence. It grows with small acts of love. Now, unfortunately, not everybody is looking for money, not everybody is looking for food. There are people who are looking for self-acceptance. Let me share with you a story of a girl who walked into my cabin a couple of years ago. Let's call her Priya. You know, Priya is a type of girl that every institution would love to have, with 9.8 GPA, volunteering for all the possible clubs, available to do any activities, any volunteering. But this time standing in front of me in my cabin, weeping inconsolably. And I asked myself, how come somebody like Priya, who is so talented and strong, standing in front of me completely shattered? And she told me, Father, I feel like I'm a fake, I'm a fraud, and I hate myself because I cannot accept even a single mistake in my life. We thought of helping her. She was sent to the counseling cell, and we realized that Priya had set impossible standards for herself, and that she believed that she cannot make a mistake, not once. And I thought this is exactly when that we should have self-compassion. This is when self-compassion is so crucial. Self-compassion is not laziness. Self-compassion is not weakness. Self-compassion is our courage to accept our humanness. And I like to ask this question to myself today and to all the parents and teachers. Can we make our children, our students, feel worthy even when they fail? Can our system accept them as they are? Now, whether my dad becoming a neighbor, or friends sharing their meals with one another, or Priya forgiving herself, one common theme is seen, and that theme is compassion. And this compassion is not something that we can find in the pages of a book. And this is a lifestyle, and this compassion begins within and not outside. How can we practice this compassion in our daily lives? I come up with a proposal, 5 guidelines, which I call CARES, C-A-R-E-S, because compassion cares. C, connecting with ourselves daily. You know, unless and until we are able to connect with ourselves daily, there is no way we are going to connect with others. And this is our way of sitting by ourselves daily and asking, what have I done today? How can I make my life better tomorrow? And this is about being grateful for everything that happens in our life. A, acknowledge imperfections with the grace. You know, we are human beings. We need to be, first of all, kind to ourselves. As human beings, we are not perfect. We make mistakes, and that is absolutely fine, as long as we learn from our mistake and we do not repeat the same mistake. R, reach out non-judgmentally. You know, not everybody is looking for advice. A lot of times people just want us to sit by their side. They want us to listen to them silently but actively. E, empathize before we evaluate. You know, sometimes we have this tendency to rush and make judgments about others. But we need to pause and ask ourselves, how would I feel if I am in the shoes of that person? That pause, that thought, I'm sure, is going to make a change in our response. And finally, S, serve with joy, not ego. every day we should do something, some at least small acts of kindness to ourselves and to others. Not for any recognition, but they actually reflect who we are. Now, I like to go back to the question that we asked in the beginning. How can I change the world when I am not able to change even myself? You do not change the world. You just change your world and make your world a world of compassion. And when compassion overflows, it overflows into your words, your relationships, your families, your homes, your campuses, your workplaces, your society. You're going to find compassion everywhere. And I like to ask this question to everyone. What is that one act of kindness towards yourself that you have been postponing? It may be as simple as taking a walk in the garden, or it may be, letting go of a past mistake, or even standing in front of the mirror and telling yourself, I matter too. Yes, you matter too. You matter so much because you too are a voice of change, a voice of compassion. And this compassion should begin within. Thank you.